Welcome to Between Two Pastries, a not-so-typical nutrition podcast. Nicole and Annie are licensed and registered dietitians. Join them as they discuss hot nutrition topics, challenge popular beliefs, and have a blast doing it. Here are your hosts, Nicole and Annie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to Between Two Pastries. This is Nicole.
Hey everyone, it's Annie.
So we're starting this pod already completely bummed out because of the subject, and I cannot tell you how we've been putting this off.
Since probably March.
Yeah, so it's literally probably March, and we started our pods in February, so we already knew we would have to address this, but yeah. So today we're going to talk about intermittent fasting, and we're going to talk about it. We're looking at it really from as many angles as we possibly can. With anything, I think this is what. This is where it gets us a little bit, is just, again, still remaining in this mindset that we have to follow these certain rules, do things within certain parameters. We understand that the whole concept of this is not about, not eating, but the idea of having to not eat and, I hate to say, starve yourself for so many hours.
It is what it is, though.
Yeah.
It's starving yourself.
And again...
For what?
I know. So...
Okay, but I first need to make a little disclaimer here.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, here's a disclaimer. For anyone who is fasting due to religious purposes, you do you.
We're also not trying to disrespect anybody who just really, really wants to do this too. Everybody can make their own decisions, and it's perfectly fine. I think what we always look at, though, are what are the whys? Mm-hmm. What are the whys around why you feel like you need to do certain things or want to do certain things?
Well, really knowing yourself. If your deepest, darkest freaking goal in life is to lose weight or look a certain way, and you're doing these things and just reaching out in space and trying everything possible and convincing yourself that X diet, or in this case intermittent fasting, is working for you, mm-hmm. we have other problems to address.
Right.
And I think we'll talk a little bit about that, because from what we see from a behavior standpoint and from a mental standpoint is this one will really fuck you up.
Yeah.
And take someone who's already in a bad position and put them into a worse position.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think, oh boy.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts.
Well, it's really hard because there's so much to unpack here. And again, there's so many different angles that we want to be looking at it from. Intermittent fasting 18-hour fast is sort of it's a typical standard. It's like standard. Yeah. And again, the idea too is during those times that you eat, you eat till you're satisfied, basically. So right there, I think what is really important to even just look at right there is that if you're only eating between, X time and X time, you're already probably going to be more likely to be in a calorie-controlled environment. Mm-hmm. We have to start looking at some of the stuff on a deeper level than just for mm-hmm. face value. You may already have results because chances are you're just eating less.
Right.
And you're
aware.
Less time in the course of a week,
I had a high school student doing this.
Right, and I know.
I pulled her off of it. Oh, I feel so much more energetic. Right. Okay. So when she was on it, they can't eat.
Right.
During, so she would have lunch and dinner, mm-hmm. and it wasn't. It was more fasting than what it was supposed to be, and
sure.
she kept gaining weight, and she kept seeing, and there were lots of things happening for her. Performance was decreasing.
Well, naturally.
All of those things.
Right. There's nothing. Right. Of course, there's nothing coming in. She's also a growing body.
Yeah. But when would you say fasting should occur for most people?
When we think about fasting, and I even hate using this term. In fact, whenever I've talked about whenever I've sort of worked with people as far as like their eating regime, I never call it fasting when I ask them to stop eating after dinner.
Right.
And not eat again until Morning.
And that's assuming they're eating appropriately during the day.
That's
they
correct.
Don't need a late night
That's
snack.
the idea, and again, I mean, it is well documented. In fact, depending, I usually, have people try to not have a main meal. So, you want to allow 3 hours before you go to bed where you're just not eating, because you want proper digestion, it eliminates reflux happening, but also when your body can digest appropriately before you actually go to bed. Now your body is more primed to put the energy towards the things that it needs to do when it's in a sleeping state without food. And we do need time for that. That's when it bulks up our immunity. That's when it's going in and doing a bunch of cellular repair wherever that is needed, whether you're injured, whether it's for athletic performance. That's also when human growth hormone gets produced. And again, if we eat before bed, we don't always get that elevation of human growth hormone. So anybody who, again, there's all these other factors that we're kind of looking at. And so,
but I also want to make it very clear, you can have.
Of course, you can.
In something after. I always tell clients,
naturally.
That, but if you set up yourself for success early in the day, you all of a sudden are like, I don't really feel like I need that. Right. So there's more to this.
There is way more to it. And really what I'm talking about is let's not have a steak meal with a bottle of wine and go to bed an hour later. Correct. That's my point. That's kind of how a lot of people kind of eat sometimes.
They do.
That will definitely set things up because then your body can't get into REM sleep appropriately because it's putting too much energy to digestion, which means it also takes away then from healing, which takes away from immunity, which then you wake up and you're exhausted. And now you're probably drinking caffeine, and then you're starting your pattern all over again. That's right.
Okay, so we need to break the fast in the morning with breakfast. I mean, that's where that term came from, is that we're not eating while we're sleeping. That's really the only legit quote-unquote fast we're doing is from the last time we eat in the evening until morning time.
Right.
So in theory, dinner to breakfast.
Mm-hmm. And then in turn, that when you do eat, you actually stop the cortisol so cortisol starts rising in the morning about 4 a.m., which eventually wakes us up, which is what wakes us up essentially, and peaks around 9 a.m. So, if you choose not to eat and, in particular you're exercising or you keep that cortisol level higher a lot longer. So that can also create an issue too.
What do we know are the ramifications of something like intermittent fasting? What do we know scientifically occurs to the body when we starve it?
Well, first of all, it's no bueno for an athlete, period. Anybody who is
not even a little bit, even if
a high intensity exerciser,
3 miles a day would throw you in that category. Exercising,
anytime you're impounding stress on the body in general. It's one thing if you're, again, going for a 20-minute walk, but the other thing too is that this is not well studied. It's still considered somewhat new. It's pretty clear out there that this is not something that should remotely be recommended for people because there isn't enough human study on it. And when we need human study, we need longevity. We also need different groups of people. We also need to be isolating certain factors. We need to not be isolating certain factors. When there's proper study on it, proper study takes a minimum of 10 years, really. I mean, that's minimum. The whole thing, because you're gathering so much data to actually come to a conclusion, the side effects to that and what some people, it's basically like studying a drug.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I mean, you don't study a drug for 3 months and then promote it to people.
Right.
That's not what you do. Right. You have to study a drug for, again, it's like a 10-year period.
Correct.
Before it even should be entering the market.
Right. Is there any evidence to support IF, or is there more evidence that doesn't support IF?
I mean, we have to look at what is out there, and they're looking at different types of populations. The one thing that is kind of up and coming is the potential for it to kill cancer cells for those people that have cancer.
Correct.
However, that too is another issue, because if you already have a ridiculously low BMI,
there it is.
You're not going to be able to sustain that because you can't get the gobs and gobs of calories that you need within a particular amount of time and not only feel okay.
Mm-hmm. I want to make it clear. It is used for those who already have cancer.
That's right. And they're under a physician's care as well.
Not preventing cancer.
Yeah.
So when people do this and they lose all this weight and then they get cancer and they need to start chemo, they are screwed. Because their BMI is too low, the demands of chemo, the demands that they need to keep their body alive. Only recommendation at this point, and I wouldn't even call it a recommendation, diagnosed with cancer. And it would be for that short period of time, or for that period of time, not necessarily the rest of their life.
Okay, so let's talk about why the science is uncertain.
Right.
This is why. So the majority of the studies that I've actually done haven't even been done on humans. They've been done, I find it very interesting. They've been done on animal models. They've been done on yeast cells, fruit flies. They've been worms. These are where the
we're
main...
not in that, we're not in those
right, in those animal kingdoms. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, right. And so the studies that have been done on humans have been done in very short stages. So I think the longest trial that was actually ran on this lasted for about 2 years. And it was still inconclusive because we still don't know what any long-term health factors result from that. Right, exactly. Also, the studies haven't been done in all different age populations, and in particular children. And this is really important to note. So when we're talking about children, we're talking about 18 years old and under.
Correct. Just thinking about, real quick, a little interjection, just thinking about how we've talked about thyroid and hormones and stuff like that. How would intermittent fasting affect our hormones, especially for that, female or male person who's in their 40s and 50s?
Well, I think and I think that's an excellent point that you bring up, because the thing is that where is your body composition going into this? So if you're now going to be starving yourself, and I'm sorry to kind of keep saying that, but when you're not eating for 36 hours,
it's starving. That's what
I'm sorry. You're not going to get hungry unless you've been doing this so long and your brain just starts shutting off and shutting down, which it will do.
That's what it does.
If you're going into it with a decent amount of body composition where your body can still manufacture and produce testosterone and estrogen, I'd like to think that those points might be okay. However, when you keep starving yourself, you eventually are going to start losing that. In addition to that, because of the fact that what if Annie and I kept saying, all your body wants to do is survive. Again, it will adapt to anything that you're doing to it. So if this is something that you continuously do, your body is going to learn how to adapt to what you're doing.
Right. So it doesn't mean it's going to do well.
Well, that's correct. Just
It'll
like
adapt.
Any of the other factors that we've talked about. Okay. It will definitely adapt. So it can adapt to that. But like you just said, does that mean that it's still going to function very well? It's hard to know, and it's hard to say, because again, there's not enough study out there, period, on any of this.
what it does to the thyroid, on what it does to the heart.
That's right.
How about the pancreas? For patients or clients, and those who have been in really, really bad positions with anorexia, they do eat. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I want to make it very clear that just because a person is anorectic doesn't mean that they're not eating ever.
Right.
They are probably more so on an intermittent fasting schedule. Mm-hmm. However, the time in which they're eating, I think that's a good point. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's when we say you're starving yourself when you do intermittent fasting, it is 100% true starvation.
Yeah.
And if you're not seeing weight loss and stuff like that, there's other factors that are coming into play, because again, we all have very different bodies. You cannot assume that someone is anorectic only because they weigh 75 pounds. That is not always the case. You can be 180 pounds or 250 pounds and still have a diagnosis of anorexia. Okay, so I want to make it very clear that anorectic people who get to the point of 75 pounds, they do it, and that's their body's response. Mm-hmm. There are people who have those same behaviors. So you do IF and there is a body response to it and there's a brain response to
That's
it.
correct. That's correct.
Anytime you starve yourself.
That's exactly
and
right.
Let's call it a spade a spade.
We do need to call a spade, and that brings us to another point of what we were just talking about of, again, there's areas of the brain that gets turned off, period. Right. So when people say, like, oh my gosh, like I can think so much clearer and all of these other things, and it's, to me, that's a huge red flag.
That's huge red flag. That is, you are red flag.
You're already entering that zone. That
Correct.
Isn't actually a good thing. And it's hard to comprehend that isn't a good thing, but
I would love to get a lab test on someone right after they said something like that.
I know. That's the thing. So, and again, it's not a matter that we don't want you thinking clear, but it's also a matter of why are you not thinking clear, just eating normally either?
Oh, yeah.
So there's, again, we can't help it. We've got to look at all of these things.
Food is not the problem.
That's right.
Behavior is the problem.
Behavior is the problem. So here's another case in point. So if you're going ahead and doing a 36-hour fast and you figure, okay, in a 48-hour period, a 2-day period, you might be eating 8 hours of that time. Let's just say that because that's true. That's typical. You eat within an 8-hour period of time. Now, forgive me for saying so, it sounds like it's an excuse to have a binge session.
Correct.
So you're able then, because you're that hungry, to eat whatever you want. So we're still undernourishing, over calorie. You might be taking in 4,000 plus calories in that particular time. Well, if you're eating 4,000 plus calories and you go for a 36-hour fast, when you really do the math, within 2 days, guess what? You're still eating 2,000 calories a day.
Right.
How are you not now putting that next meal or that next 8-hour binge of eating on a pedestal? Oh my gosh, 100%. I cannot wait to eat. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to eat. And are you really thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to eat a salad with some chicken breast? No.
Fuck no.
You're thinking, I'm eating whatever.
I'm going to go eat, a burger or whatever.
So I think this is the piece that is so disturbing to Annie and I, is that this is the route that many people will take. And when you still lay it out, it's still disordered eating because you still have a disordered relationship with food.
Correct. 100%. Rewind and listen to that again.
That is the whole piece. I mean, that's the whole piece there. So,
well, and you have so many people who push IF that are like, oh, it's going to change you metabolically. Oh, it's going to change your inflammatory responses. Oh, it's going to change insulin resistance. Oh, this is a challenge. And they're looking at it, all they're claiming
something
all
to
these
achieve.
Things that aren't true, medically not true, not scientifically proven. And then they're throwing on top of that their own, belief that and control issues as they tote this, that like, oh my God, this is such a great challenge and I need all the help and it's such torture to have all these smells around me and people eating and I'm so strong and powerful not eating and around all of these people who are.
That's right.
What the fuck? That is disordered eating.
Yeah.
Basic 101.
Right. And again, the premise too of that eating disorder is manipulating and control of something outside of yourself, because whatever's happening on the inside or whatever's happening in your world is so disruptive and you don't feel like you can control it.
Correct.
You don't feel like you have power. So the whole concept is this lack of real self-empowerment. Mm-hmm. But if you do X, Y, and Z and you manipulate something like this, it provides you with this false sense of self-empowerment. So therefore you feel high and mighty, because in another area of your life you do not.
Right. IF is totally, there's a bunch of diets out there, and IF is the one that royally feeds into
eating disorder mentality.
Yeah, it is, especially for the person who is in such denial.
Correct.
That they have an eating disorder.
That's correct.
One more comment on it. The people who are promoting IF have problems themselves.
Oh, sure.
And they're projecting their problems onto everyone else by saying, this is the greatest thing in the world. And they hide behind their mask of, I'm a food coach, maybe they're a dietitian, maybe they're a doctor, maybe it's a parent or a teacher or your best friend. They are hiding behind their problems. That's all I want to say.
And I think that is definitely possible. I also know that there are some people who aren't seeing things this way and are looking at it from a different side of things. I think point being, though, is that there just is not enough evidence-based information on studying from the inside out for years and years and really, really looking at it that can say for sure that it will do X, Y, and Z. Can anything do X, Y, and Z temporarily, initially? Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
That we know for sure. Right. That's why these types of things feel so promising or feel like they're so high and mighty.
Much is the placebo effect
right.
Too.
Right. And then there's the placebo effect too. Again, there's a lot of different studies happening right now, so I'm not trying to poo-poo the whole concept on a medical level. We just don't know enough information about that medical level.
Right.
And what Annie and I are really talking about is not on a medical level. We're talking about it as an individual, and it's another, it's in a form of another diet. It's in a form of another way of manipulating and trying to control or get a handle on their own relationship with life, with food, with whatever.
Right.
And I think that's really what we're going at. And I really just want to make that
clear. Be leery
clear.
of the practitioner who's recommending this because there is no research.
That's right.
There is no valid, clinical, unbiased research out there.
Or there's very limited is what we're trying to say.
Fruit flies, people, come on.
That's the thing.
Right.
I still want to get back to, though, why are we not just seeking balance?
Right.
And health.
We know what works.
And so why aren't we just eating
works.
food with nutrition in it? Why not? Why are we just not getting regular exercise?
Intuitively. When we are hungry and we stop when we're full and we move and we limit alcohol and we don't smoke. What about that is so hard for people?
I mean, the thing is that the body has been studied for so
long.
many years, and we know this.
We said we wouldn't freak out, but now it's happening. We know what works, and unfortunately, it is not dramatic.
Right.
It's not anything that's classy and fun and trendy. No, it's stupid and bland, and it's balanced.
But however, the person wants to go, no, I want to drink my bottle of wine. I want to have my Ben & Jerry's. I want to eat my steak. I want to do all of these things, and I want to do it all in one day, and I want to do it every single day, and I don't want to think about the repercussions of any of that.
Why is the same person who wants to have wine and ice cream and burgers and fries and fruits and vegetables
but in an excessive way
choosing to do IF?
I know!
You love food. Admit it to yourself. I love food, and now I'm going to put myself in a place of starvation?
It's so frustrating.
What? Because it's the same reason why a lot of people end up doing keto or low carb. They love carbs so much, they can't get a grip on it. They can't control that aspect of their life, so they choose a diet that allows them to say, no, I can't have this.
Right. And what I want to do is support those same people and say, it's okay. You're just out of balance. Can we just help you get into balance?
Fix the balance.
So you can have your cake and eat it too. I'm a big fan of having your cake and eating it too.
You're an athlete or a non-athlete.
Yeah.
Timing has so much to do with when you have that wine.
Timing
when
is
you
massive.
have French fries, when you have cake.
It's so massive.
It is really massive. When you do the activity and when you're so out of balance and you want a quick fix of 2 weeks or a month of doing fasting crap, or cleanses. That's another name for it. Let's just be real. That's
what people think they're doing.
People think they're doing. Balance takes time. You have to start with the client, and we notice 100 flaws about what might be going on to get them back into balance. And guess what? I know for me, I pick 3. Mm-hmm. And we fix those. We work on those things. Then we go to the next thing.
Right.
And we keep striving for that balance. But guess what? It takes a long time.
But you know what the good part of that is that during that course of time, though, all of these things that medically people may want to start correcting, start correcting.
It's amazing.
Your body responds almost immediately to this kind of change, if you will, behavior change, timing change. It's amazing how quickly your body wants to respond to that. So you're having these medical internal results, or I should say, changes, positive changes happening almost immediately while you're going through this process and while your head is catching up to it. And then, if your body's going to change in any way, shape, or form, it will do that as well.
I want to make one more point, because I think what people are so afraid of and why they do things like IF or wackadoodle diets, I think people are really afraid of diabetes at the end of the day. I think we've created a culture that is so instilled so much fear around diabetes as it's related, which it really isn't, to weight and food. Maybe even heart disease, but I think really people are so fearful of diabetes, and the irony of this particular food pattern of fasting is
it'll make it worse.
It'll make it worse. It will create more
risk,
resistance.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though. Whenever we do these extreme measures, this is the thing. This is the absolute thing that's so frustrating to me. Is whenever you decide to do these crazy measures for a short period of time, and then you go, oh, it's Christmas, I'm eating cookies now. You put so much more stress on your body from going to these extreme
you are
places.
Better off eating cookies all year round.
All the
and
time.
Just being 5 pounds heavier.
But not only that, eating cookies doesn't mean you have to be 5 pounds heavier.
That's true.
That's the other thing too. But it's like we set we put so much strain on our body from going from one thing to the next thing, instead of, can we just be consistent on a daily basis in some way, shape, or form?
Right. But it's at the end of the day, it's people's choices. I mean, I know it really makes us angry, and we don't do these things, and people can do whatever they want. But at the end of the day, like, what really sucks is then, as a practitioner, getting someone 4 or 5, 6 years later that I've already seen, and now they've got hypothyroidism. Now they've got diabetes.
Right.
Now they're 40 pounds heavier than they were.
Sure.
Well, maybe you should have listened.
That can happen.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves. Unfortunately, food plays a big role in mental health.
Right.
So that's usually the underlying layer of so much of how and why we eat, what we eat, and our behaviors around food, and this need to feel self-worth through dieting or doing things like intermittent fasting.
Correct.
Get your shit together, people.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at this morning. Crack open a bottle of wine. What time is it?
I know.
I'm like sweating.
I know.
My heart is racing. I think one of the things that we want to make sure every listener and human being on the face of the planet understands is that IF is not the only way to try to achieve what you're trying to achieve, or manage what you're trying to manage. And again, that could make the argument though that, well, IF is a way that you can manage it, but really truly, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, right?
Right.
Let's
As we've discussed, sure.
So really truly, you don't have to eat once a day or for an hour a day or not eat for 36 hours, because really truly you don't have to do that.
That's right.
To achieve what you're trying to do, whatever that may be.
So I think it's just being really clear about if an individual wants to do it, why?
Why?
What are the main reasons why? And is there an alternative way that doesn't have to be so extreme? And so the other thing to kind of keep in mind too, because we'll people will say like, oh, so and so says they're feeling better when they're doing this. And I think what's important to kind of understand is, we don't know anything about so and so.
Right.
And neither does the person inquiring about this other individual. We don't know what kind of intake setup they had prior to embarking on something like this. And I think what's important to understand is kind of what we talked about earlier in general. Maybe for some reason they're eating better within these hours of eating. You never know.
Right.
There could be a lot of different things that could potentially be happening.
Let's think
it can also be a placebo.
Yeah.
And also just with any change that you make, I can't reiterate this enough. Any change you make within your diet is going to provide change.
Right. So I don't know how much you get this, but I always get my friend did blank and therefore blank improved. So like, my friend did intermittent fasting and now this person doesn't have inflammation anymore.
Sure.
And I always want to challenge, like, what does inflammation feel like? Do you know?
Yeah. Because people really don't
you can't actually feel.
No, unless you have a joint issue.
Correct. Well, even like, hey, I started doing an IF, my cholesterol lowered. Well, yeah, you're not eating anything. Like,
right.
What the hell do you think is going to happen?
And that's the thing. We have to look at what is the whole purpose of why you want to do that. And what are you doing now that isn't giving you that?
Right.
Now we go and we look at what do we need to change dietary-wise, timing-wise, and anything else-wise to achieve that particular result.
Right.
Not just don't eat for 1,000 hours.
Right, and therefore you'll experience all of these great things in the world.
And the thing too about this person that all of a sudden is pain-free after 2 days of doing something, I think what's really important to note though is, again, it's the long term. Can you do this day in and day out, and are you going to feel just as amazing on day one as you do on day 654?
Why are you choosing to? You don't have to do
this
to
achieve
less pain, to achieve less inflammation, to achieve weight loss, to achieve anything.
That's right.
You do not have to do this.
That's right. And as we mentioned to earlier in the pod, we have to also remember how it alters the brain. Mm-hmm. It's like going back to like what caffeine can do. Mm-hmm. Caffeine can give you a stunted ability to perceive exertion.
Correct.
So when we, again, I'm sorry to use the term starve yourself, but when you're not eating for 18 to 36 hours, that isn't actually normal for a body where you're probably going to have sensations of hunger at some point.
Yeah.
And then you're just
or
denying
sensations of
that.
No hunger as your body
of the adaptation. But anyway, there are certain changes that happen in your brain and that give you different signals. It is just the way it is. Right. So I just caution against so much of that.
When you or I, who are creating podcasts with this wonderful free information, we have no reason to tell you something that's false or to push something that's not real or genuine.
Right.
So take that, as seriously as you may, but IF is 100% just another diet. When people promoting IF and doing IF are considering whatever it is that they're about to eat or have around or in their little time period of eating time, when they call things treats, they are putting value on food. They are putting food on a pedestal. They are removing the neutral part about food, and all food is neutral, but and that's what we have to remember. There aren't treats. Treats are with diets. Treats, that's not a thing. That shouldn't be a thing. Chips are not a treat. Chips are a side to a sandwich. Chips are a crunchy, fried, salty, delicious treat. No, it's just a frickin' side that we eat on our next to a sandwich or a burger or whatever. It's a nutrition source in some way, shape, or form. Okay, well, are they using words to glorify food?
Sure. Are they still using like good and bad and treats
healthy,
or quote
unhealthy
unquote cheat meals or whatever? I hate that so much. Yeah.
You want to really F yourself up. Do cheat meal crap.
Right. Well, and that's just it.
What are the complications of doing something like this? Because I think that's a major thing.
Besides passing out?
Yeah, or like dying. I guess besides that,
another side effect of that is definitely can definitely be muscle loss.
Yeah,
depending on how it's handled, but mostly because of how it's handled. So again, if this is just a sedentary person who doesn't exercise a whole lot,
I don't know, I guess, but I still, whenever there's rules and can'ts and shouldn'ts, usually it's something you want to avoid in general, and I think that's kind of the point that we're trying to make. So
Right.
Anyway, any more questions, guys? You know how to reach us. Bye.
Have questions you want to hear discussed on the show? Find us on Facebook or visit between2pastries.com and drop us a line. Want to support the show? Find us on Patreon for exclusive content. If you love the show, find us on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review.